It is I, the People's Machine, gamer telling you the way it is, and this is episode 7 of the Gaming Round Table. I'd like to tell everyone that I've been kind of AWOL for a while. Had some stuff going on between work and, of course, like the pandemic, coronavirus, that's affected a lot of people. And I don't want to get into it, but my father passed away last week, so it's been kind of rough all around dealing with that. But I'm back and talk a little bit about Contra Road Core, currently on sale and big in Japan for $9.99. I had played the demo when it came out, and needless to say, I was kind of like, don't know how I feel about it. Contra was a game series that I grew up with. It was one of the first games I completed. Of course, I needed the Konami code to do that. I've since never been able to beat it without it. I've gotten close, but there you have it. I've also loved Super C. Absolutely loved, of course, Contra 3, The Alien Wars. This is a direct sequel. I have played a few other Contra Hardcore and different ones, but mainly the mainline series. And Contra Road Core here, I'm playing as Kaiser with his machine gun and lock-on missiles. I want to talk about this game because I know that a lot of people basically played the demo and then based their entire review on that demo and took other people's footage of the game and basically completely shit all over this game. I want to make sure that audio is where it needs to be. It's been a while since I've done a video, so I'm going to turn it down just a hair more to 25 just to make sure everybody can hear me. There's a lot of reasons why this game, it did sell well in Japan. A lot of people say I can't believe it, but it actually did. The Japanese community, gaming communities, had a love affair for Contra for a long time, and for couch co-op and other reasons online and different things. I want to talk about this game because I got it for 10 and wasn't sure after playing the demo if I even really cared for the game or liked it. And when I played through the beginning part of this game, I was still really on the fence. But now that I have played the game and understand its systems better, I actually really enjoy the game. It's a very much better game than it was at launch. They have done 4 or 5 updates, one of which was to help with the heat up of your gun meter and the cooldown. So it's been updated twice to give it a better, so it cools down, all guns cool down much faster and heat up a lot less faster. And that was a mechanic that a lot of people did not like in the game and probably still don't. Contra has always been about running and gunning, never having to worry about those kind of systems. But I want to say that the gameplay based around that is really solid, and a lot of people may not like the systems, but they may not like the systems that are in play, but there's a reason for them, and I want to show you a little bit of some stuff. So watch your meter in the right bottom corner, and as you see, my gun is heating up, my gun is heating up, my gun is heating up. You want to switch to your weapons immediately to your missiles, and by the time that almost heats up, you're back to normal. You can switch and switch and switch, and then you could just pretty much continuously fire, as you can see here, because by the time that one is almost heated up, you're going to switch back to it again, fire missiles, constantly shooting. You never really have to worry about it. Actually, even you don't really have to pay attention to your meter. You can just kind of get a feel for what the gun is going to feel like. As you can see here, I have continuously shot with never worrying about that meter. That's one of the systems that they should have explained better in the tutorial. They do not. There's not trying to force you to use a sub weapon you don't want to. It's just kind of the nature of the game. And another thing that you have to be very leery of is the dodge mechanic. You're completely invincible during this dodge mechanic, which also does damage and stuns enemies. It's very important to use that when your weapons do overheat to clear out swarms and all of that. Another thing that I think why this game failed over here in the West is Konami did a very, very poor job of communicating a lot of Contra Road Core's systems, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So in your workshop, one of the things is on your customization, you have your main weapon and you have your sub weapon. It gives you all your information you need to know. I have developed mine and upgraded it to a C+. All weapons start at a D, and then they go D plus C, C plus B, B plus A plus Epic, and it's important to know that. One of the things is you can look at your entire equipment list across the board with the push of a touchpad. It talks about your shield endurance. I have 104. I had 100. I've gotten 4 more added because I've gotten some shield defense plus 4. Again, you can build your characters with through its body parts and stuff up to have like a lot of shields or a lot of this or your skill cooldowns, and you actually can increase your lives and bombs that you can own to start out with. So it's kind of nice to, and I'll get into that in just a second. When you are adding these bads or weapon mods, it's also important, if you see where it says display, this is going to tell you what that mod does. So if I select display, it says moderate increase of base damage for machine gun only. As you can see here, the storage is only at 46. I cannot go above 46, but as long as I stay within that 46, then I can put 2 mods. You could do a bunch of low-level mods if you wanted to. It's very important, these systems. They don't explain that. The display thing, I didn't even realize was going to tell me what it did. Major increase for cooldown rate, major increase for cooldown. All these are also sellable for the in-game currency, which I have 15,924, which is nothing in this game, by the way, because you can. So it's very important to read those. It's very important that you, when you're doing these mods, besides the cost, which is kind of like an encumbrance cost, is to understand what it does. You may, I think a lot of people, again, poorly communicated, it just says display. You would think it would say toggle for information or information. It doesn't. So I think a lot of people don't realize that hitting the touchpad will tell you this. And they, of course, they have, you can sort it by equipment cost, new, and type. I usually do type, so it gives me the best of the best. And I think a lot of people would score over something and see that nothing changes on your stats. A lot of these just don't change. So it's important to be able to select that. And this Demon's Tail level 2 says fires an extra shot in addition to normal shots when attacking. You can't stack with other types of bullets. Main weapon only. It's a legendary thing. So it's very important. I'm using the 1 shot, 1 kill, increases damage dealt to enemies with 100% HP. When you do equip it, it will tell you what it does. So again, very important to understand like how these work and these systems. Another thing that they do not explain, they don't really explain like to you systems and stuff, is the fact that there's just a lot of things they just don't explain. One of the things is that when you let's say I want to develop a weapon. When you develop a weapon, and let's say you're going to upgrade a weapon. Let's say that's my original D homing gun, but let's go down to my C+. It says weapon level low. If I was to auto select materials, which is what you should do instead of picking what you want, your B+ would put it back to level 1. And instead of being a level 3. It's important to understand that a B+ weapon is better than a C+ weapon, even if you lose level. It's going to have more, my base damage goes up to 102, my critical rate, my heat up rate goes down. As you build and build and build, it's important. But it does require a lot of credits. And so that's just something that you have to keep in mind when you are doing this. Besides, as you can see here, there are rarities of these type of weapons too. So I could get a epic machine gun, and eventually I have seen people online where their gun almost never heats up, and so it feels more like classic Contra. You just never have to worry about it. Or switching, really. You can also develop weapons, again, important. That shoots a bunch of shurikens out. That's a OHM machine gun. It does it can do paralysis damage because it does electricity. There's Tesla mines. There's the stock Gauss gun, which actually ricochets all over the place. This game has so many weapons. It's literally dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of weapons. So it does have a lot of loot. It's very important to understand, though. Contra Rogue Core, terrible reviews were based solely on Konami's inability to give us the information that we needed. It's so much about this game they do not tell you. And it's a shame, because I think if you were to play the game and just play it straight, you would be like, what am I playing? Why am I playing this? What's going on? And if you go from level to level to level, you will get slaughtered in this game. You will get completely shit on. The game you really need to do is grind your character's weapon levels out. It's very important to do that. If you play from this level to this level, this level, if you get to the third level and you've done no upgrading, no grinding, no nothing, you're going to die. You're going to be completely outclassed. So the game has these RPG mechanics, and I know thinking about Contra in the terms, I got to grind in a Contra game, you just have to. Almost every game now has RPG mechanics. Even my beloved Dynasty Warriors has RPG mechanics. Well, they've been in there for a while, but really is to the forefront now. Every game has it. Think of Contra Row Core as a twin stick dungeon crawling with guns is essentially what it is. And if I go back through the old City Pursuit, I'm going to start this first mission, because playing back through the first mission with the upgrades that I have and the leveling that I have done for my weapons, because your weapon has two levels. You have a regular level, and then you have and as you level it up, you also level up a mastery rank. So my character's already at master level 10 for my machine gun, which gives me some buffs and stuff just because I mastered it. I leveled out the common. You'll have to do that for each version of it, obviously. But I'm just going to play through real quick, because I want to show you that a lot of people complained about the enemies, like bosses and stuff, being bullet sponges, and they take too long to kill. And they didn't, and again, because poor communication on Konami, not telling you the systems that you need to know about in order to get through this game, has, I think, detrimentally affected its review scores and the things that you can and cannot do. It's very important. Those items I'm collecting, it's important to get all of those. Those are loot-based items you get, which are, they call them data capsules, but it has mods and a variety of other things in there. Because I'm at a C+ weapon, because I have all these mods and stuff, I can just literally nearly one-shot everything on the first level. You're not going to get a whole lot of credits on the first level. I think maxing out at about 600. You're not going to get a whole lot, but you will get a few mods and different things as you play through the missions. The challenge missions are where it's really at, where you get a lot of levels and a lot of abilities. And remember to use your dodge. Dodge is a good mechanic to, not just to get out of the way, but to, like, you know, move. So I'm going to kill all these guys. I'm doing like crazy crit damage. Again, that mod that I had put on my gun that lets me do more damage at 100%. Very important to those mods are very important to use and to level up. You know, it's now this is one of those enemies that if you stun, you can do a finishing move on. Finishing moves give you health and give you coins and credits and stuff, so it's very important to do them when you can. Every character has one finisher that they can do, so they didn't put a lot of finishers, but you can see here it dropped items and health, and sometimes it's very needed in the beginning stages of the game. This right here, there's going to be another thing, another data capsule to collect. That car is going to come up. You want to jump, because it will knock you off, and just keep moving. And again, because I have leveled up so quickly, and when you first play this first level, you're going to feel a little bit like, man, everything takes a while to kind of kill. Even the little peon enemies might take 3 shots. Now I can just pretty much one-shot all of them, no problem. Switch to missiles. Again, very important to remember the weapon switching. But because that they had done updates and improved the cooldowns, and because of the way that I put mods and have upgraded my weapon, the heating aspect of heating up and not being able to use your weapon for a long period of time is basically negligible. Again, I can just switch instantly, dodge, switch back to machine gun. Other weapons already cooled down, switch. You know, that switching mechanic is very key if you want to keep shooting and not have a break in the action. Not communicated very well. Konami just did not communicate the systems in this game very well, and I think this is why the game failed. And it's a shame, because it is a sequel to my favorite Contra game, Contra 3 Alien Wars on the Super Nintendo. I've always been a big fan of that, of the series. I love run and gun games anyway. They're some of my favorites. Alien Nation, Dead Nation, Housemarque makes some great run and gun games. Next Machina. I played a bunch on the original PlayStation 1. The game 1 and the game. Let's see here, Assault Retribution. Even the Contras that are not very good on the PS1 era, I still bought because of my fan of the series. Now, because my weapons are very powerful, or at least moderately powerful, and because of the grinding that I have done, I'm already at the last boss. It took only a few minutes to get through the stage. Now, when I first played the game, it took about 10 minutes, just because you're not upgraded, and upgrading is so key. Now, you're going to see me pretty much murk this boss. This guy is what people complain about being a bullet sponge, but I don't have that problem. I just destroy him pretty quickly. You know, I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to get the spreader gun and just completely devastate his health. Go ahead and make sure you get all these data caps. It's very important before they disappear. There's going to be one more that shows up. I may have missed one in the game. I'm low on health, but that's okay. I can take a kill. Now I'm going to use a bomb, which bombs actually restore your shield energy a little bit, so it's important to use those when you can. I'm just basically going to murk him real quick. Get rid of that thing up there, and he's already dead. That's it. Clear enemies, easy peasy, no problem there, no question. I missed one. I don't know where I missed it at, but that's okay. Grinding in this game is essential. It took me about 4 hours of playing through the first stage and playing the challenge mission to actually get my character where I needed to be, so where I could literally kind of like go through the early stages and just kill everything. Because as you play and progress through each mission gets a little bit harder, and you just have a little bit more health. So it's very important to try to do that. As you can see here, you see this bottom number here where it says 10 and 11. That's your mastery rank. That's your main rank. So as you upgrade, when you get to level 10, it masters it, but then you can further master it. It's very important to grind and get your guns leveled up. It may take time, but it's totally worth it. Now I got 455 credits. It's not a whole lot of credits. You do get some items here. The SAB, that's your main stuff that you found that was good. A lot of those you'll get duplicates of. Just sell them for credits. A lot of it's worth money, and very important that you use your credits wisely and use the systems that are there. Poorly communication from Konami, I think, really detrimented this game, and it's such a shame because the game is actually a lot of fun. I already just explained the workshop mechanics, that when you are customizing your main weapons, this will tell you what they do, but if you were to select a weapon, like a new mod, for example, as you can see here, you can see the differences in numbers, but some of these don't give you any differences, which I explained earlier. But if you hit the touchpad, it tells you what it does. So it's good to read that. Plus, every weapon can only have so many mods based on its level, based on the if it's a D, a C, a B, or A weapon, and that gives you those costs, so you can have fun with that. I use that, increases damage dealt to 100%. Enemies with 100% health. It's a great mod to have. It's important. You also are not pigeonholed into using the main and sub weapon for each character. I can switch out that machine gun to a laser gun to shotgun to machine guns. So you don't have to use that character specific weapon if you do not wish to. I can change out the sub weapon if I want. I can give her the killer hula hoop, the drill gun, and if you look into development or purchase weapons, there's a weapons you can purchase and mods. Develop weapons, as I said earlier, there's a ton of different variety of weapons to develop. It's pretty cool what you can get, and different upgrades. That's what you're going to use to upgrade your weapon. It's very important, very key, and very critical to when you're playing the game, to try to understand the systems. The game was poor. I think the poor communication really hurt the game. Now, this is the transplantation where you get body parts, and you can just basically, it increases different things on your character. This will give you a better percentage of damage in your bomb attack, gives you faster shield healing, gives you cooldown reduction once you get to combo level 3, which is once you kill enough enemies, you get combos as you do that. It's important to, again, to use these, and some of them offer resistances, some of them offer you protection. So it's very important. Like shockwave dodge, it's very important to dodge attack is 19% more damage during overheat. Attack increase during level 6. These are all important to use and utilize. So you can build up your character in a way to have like all shields or all this or that. So it's very key to use that. The black market's used to buy additional stuff. You can check your inventory. This is where you can sell pretty much everything you have. If you want to sell stuff to get coins, that's very important. Another thing that they don't really tell you either is in your profile. When you go to vlogs, this is the story. The game does not have cutscenes. It has one in the beginning, but you kind of have to go back into here to see the rest of the story. They don't automatically play. I think that's weird, but if you wish to see the story, you're going to look at it in here in these vlogs. This is your multiplayer. Nobody's playing multiplayer. I've tried a bunch of times to try to get into games at different times. Nobody bought this game, so you can forget playing multiplayer. Another very critical and key thing to when you're playing this game in a single player is to play the exploration missions. They are much more difficult. You should grind out first before you play them, but you when you play through the challenge missions, exploration missions, there's 4 small stages. They swarm a shit ton of enemies at you. You do not have to fight all of them. You just had to get to the end of the stage. Fight some and then move on if you're getting overwhelmed. Interestingly enough, when you play exploration missions, the rewards are incredible. I leveled up my weapons very quickly doing this. They offer a lot of rewards as far as like mods and stuff. You'll get a ton of mods and weapons, and the credits, you get a lot of credits for completing the mission. It's very important to play the exploration missions, grind a little bit out in the normal missions, and then play that. I beat the first boss of the main game, and I unlocked the hardcore missions, which are essentially a different. And again, these levels and these missions are procedural, like the challenges. And I have no lives, and bombs start at 0, and like they're harder missions. But again, you can get like it says, first clear rewards here, score rewards, what you can get. It will tell you what rewards you can get, which is nice. The hardcore missions do that, and so does the regular missions. You can go here and it'll tell you what your score rewards will be for each and every weapon. Like I can get the trigger happy main. It tells you what you can get and score rewards. If your score is high enough, you get an S score. These are all important to look into. This will tell me what I'm going to get. Securing the park, hardcore, and the chaos missions doesn't tell you what you're going to get because it's randomized and procedurally generated. Contra World Core is also a couch co-op and online multiplayer. I really like this game. I did not like the demo at first. They even added emotes, which is kind of funny. They added like dances and stuff, and you can, like sorry about that, and good. It's like it's cool. They added the little new emotes. They weren't in the game originally. I don't believe they were in the game originally. Somebody was saying they don't think they were. And, that's basically what went on there. When you switch out characters, you can switch them out at any time. This is Mrs. Harry Carey. The differences in characters is really negligible. It's really just aesthetics, what they look like, their special, and their finisher. But their weapons, like she starts off with a laser, which is just goes through enemies and has a slow heat up and a fairly decent cooldown. Her original chainsaw weapon was very, very powerful, but it had a super fast heat up and a fairly and not a bad cooldown. But I got a new version, which is the hula hoop, and it has a very slow build up. And this is something again that again not a bad all the way around, but the aesthetics are different. For each character, I could dance with her if I want to. She does a little twerking and whatever that. She's got a variety of weapons. She says she's sorry she commits Harry Carey. I mean, it's just the emotes are pretty neat, little good and clothes, and they all have different abilities. The panda, the gentleman. You play the gentleman. I haven't really played as the panda or gentleman. The alien that basically, is got a. But he also uses a laser. He uses a flamethrower. classic Contra style. Does burn damage over time for enemies. He's got his bomb. He's got his special, which is really cool. He shoots out like a little black hole that it sucks in all enemies and then does damage, I think, while it's sucking in all enemies, which is a good like keep away. They all have different abilities. They all have a variety of stuff. That's his dance. That's his basic sorry, he bows to you. This is like good, he's happy. They all are different. I've primarily been using Kaiser. That's who I've been primarily focusing in on, and switching occasionally to Miss Hair Carry. But you know, because you can swap out the weapons for each other, it's really just a matter if you want to play the game with a different special or a different whatever. So that's the real key differences. So this has been Contra Rogue Corps, episode 7 on the Gaming Roundtable. I hope that you all decide that for $9.99 on the PlayStation Store, Big in Japan, so that you buy it. Because to be honest with you, it's much better than any of the reviews that you're seeing on YouTube. There's a couple YouTube videos. If you look up Contra Rogue Corps is actually good as a net search on YouTube, you'll find a couple of videos that talk about this and say like it's much better than you think it would be. There's even mods, by the way, I forgot to tell you, that can speed up the run animation of your character. The game is much better than you think it would be. It's totally worth the 10. I think it's worth 20 or 30 bucks. Because now that I have a better grasp of its systems, the fact that it has the RPG mechanics, the fact they want to make that you got to grind and you get better. As you see, I blasted through that first mission in just a few minutes, 4 minutes or whatever, and it took no time to destroy the last boss. I lost no lives, used one bomb. It's really, really important to grind in this game. It's really important to look at the display toggle in the workshop, the surgery room. It's important to grind, important to role play it, and to play it as like a twin stick dungeon crawler. It's very important to do that. If you are into that, I think you'll enjoy Contra Rogue Corps. It may not be the Contra where you remember, but it is a good Contra game. Thank you for tuning in to episode 7 of the Gaming Roundtable. It is the People's Machine. It's been my pleasure. I hope you watched this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to Unpaid Gamers on the YouTube channel. Special shout out to Posthuman Guy. Thank you again for allowing me to do the Gaming Roundtable on your site. And I will see you on the next episode of the Gaming Roundtable. And as always, gamers, good gaming.